No more channels! None! And no new projects until these ones are done, okay? Hello, my name is Christopher Bingham, and this is my channel, chriscoolblog. Yes. It's this one. This is the one. It's called chriscoolblog. And that's it. That's it now. That's it. It's done. Hi. I'm just over a year into this.
Old.
I'm 1 year old. Hi. It's like the movie Jack, but worse. No more! I'm 1 year old, and I've been re-uploading my old classic comedy and things, and I have undergone this kind of multi-year process of like rebranding and re-uploading. This is an update video, by the way. If you don't mind, I can just kind of explain to you as an audience surrogate what I'm doing.
Yeah, I've been thinking about doing the same thing, so I understand.
Yeah. I have a problem that I think a lot of creative people share, which is that I start too many things. I've had so many usernames and accounts and things over the years. Like, it's a running joke on my Discord that people just list them all. Okay, let's do this for the iceberg people. Furbystein, I think, was my very first YouTube channel. Slow-Mo Zovo, I think, came after that. Slow-Mo Zovo. SMZV Radio, very quickly, hastily replaced by Bing Radio. We had New Music, collaboration with Liam from Woto. Then there was Talk. That was a collaborative channel, didn't really take off. Still have that username. If anyone wants it, let me know. YouTube/Talk, that's pretty cool. There's been a lot of Twitter usernames as well. My first one was Bing spelt wrong, Benig, which I found very funny. But then as people started saying it out loud, and then I was Slow-Mo Zovo for a long time. And then I did the kind of aborted rebrand to /IamBing, vanity URL on YouTube. And then I couldn't get it on other things. So then I was Hello IamBing on Twitter and maybe Instagram briefly. I've started other Instagram accounts. Past Being Future Bing had an Instagram account briefly. High Five Spaceship has a defunct Instagram account. High Five Spaceship also had a YouTube channel still up. There have been various ill-advised joke accounts over the years. Flannel Rags, Tack Maps, and who could forget Benecat Cumberbatch. My finest achievement last year, I said to myself, no more channels. I'm going to rebrand one time. Because I had this idea for a username and I realized I could get it on everything. So since the beginning of last year, I have been chriscoolblog.
chriscoolblog is a really cool blog.
On everything. It's a silly name, but it's my silly name. Yeah. And I have all of it. I have the Gmail, I have the website, I have Instagram, Facebook, all of it. All of it unified for the first time. It's too late. It's 15 years too late. Last year as well, I kind of set myself like 3 rules. The first one is I try things for a whole year. I try to think about things in terms of a year, right? So like this podcast, we're doing it for a whole year. At the end of this year, I'm going to have a hard look at whether it has been successful, right? I'm trying to think in those kind of terms. Partly so that I commit to things, because I think that a lot of creatives have trouble with follow through. I do. I think I need to do this year thing. Yeah, it's great. It's changed my life. As long as you do both parts, right? It's all about making a decision. You make the decision, I am going to do this for a whole year. And then you also make the decision, you say, I'm not going to be afraid to stop it. The second thing is life's too short to work alone. Yeah. I'm done working on my own. I'm sick of it. Me too. I'm so sick of working on my own, which was another reason we started this. Yeah. Because I want an obvious person to work with is you. And it's been great so far. Because I'm great. It's been really good so far. Except that we need to sell out. We really need to sell out. I love Burger King. One that I have not been as successful at is don't start something new until you finish something current.
Same.
I've been pretty good at that. I've been on the road-ish for 8 months, almost. 6 of those, I would say I did not start a new project. And then in the last couple, I kind of slipped. I want the people who follow me, the people who watch my videos to know what I'm doing. So let's just go down the list. I'm so bad.
You're going to tell everyone everything you're doing.
So bad at communicating with my fans. This is me communicating with my fans. I'm going to tell you all of the stuff that's in my project tracker right now. And you just happen to be here. I'm sorry. Captain Baculum Web Edition. Captain Baculum is an independent comic book that I started when I was a teenager, and I finally completed during lockdown in 2021. It saved me at a particularly low point in my life, and I worked on it and I finished it. I finally finished the 3rd book. It's available to buy physically, and since the start of last year, I've been uploading every page on captainbaculum.com to read for free. The status on that is it's all scheduled. I don't have to touch anything. 3 or 4 weeks' time, it will all have been posted, and then all of Captain Baculum will be available on captainbaculum.com to read for free. You can also buy the books, and I might do like one last little giveaway or something to celebrate that it's all up. And then that's done. Completed project. Fully squeezed every last little bit of juice out of this thing that I started when I was 16.
Oh, that's crazy.
Chris in the Morning. Chris in the Morning started as a music show on Mixcloud, which was terrible. So I moved to Spotify, and that was also terrible. And then I just started putting it up online as an MP3. It's a show where I encourage music discovery by curating a playlist like a radio DJ and sharing it with you. And people like it, but I was having to put it in places where people can't easily find it. So I started doing live streams. So there's Chris in the Morning podcast. And that's been going for almost 3 years. We're coming up on 3rd year renewal on that one.
3 years, wow.
I have decided that I'm going to wind that down at the end of this year. So I'm going to make as many episodes as I can for the rest of this year. And I owe people shout outs. They're going to get their shout outs from Patreon.
Could have me on an episode first.
You can guest on an episode. I'm going to do the third installment in the Soundtrack to My Life kind of miniseries within CITM. And then wherever I get to at the end of the year, because I think it has the potential to really drag on and take up too much brain space. Wherever I get to at the end of the year, that's the end of the show. But the streams have been really popular so far, and they're going to continue.
Cool.
Christ the Redeemer joined my jam. Happy Sunday. That's going to take the place of Chris in the Morning. Is going to be the live streams. Chris in the Morning Live happens every Sunday on this channel from about 4 p.m. UK time till about 7. It's a place where I can hang out with my audience, share recommendations, and we make a playlist together by the end of it. So the podcast audio-only version of Chris in the Morning will be finishing at the end of this year, but the live streams will continue. Am I bothering you? This show, the show that I make with Jen.
Me!
As part of my effort to collaborate more with the people around me, I started a podcast with my sister, Jenny Bingham. We have a long and storied fictional history as siblings who annoy each other, and I thought that it would be fun to make a podcast where we use our real-world knowledge to actually annoy each other. We stress each other out, we make each other laugh, and then what usually happens is that we break through into a really genuine conversation. That's going really well. It's really fun. It's not making money, but it's fun.
But we enjoy it.
And we were talking about scheduling. Now that I'm back in London, we can shoot a bit more regularly.
A bit easier to make it consistent and
we
regular.
reckon we could make 4 to 6 more episodes this year. The episodes are an hour long. There have been 4 so far, and they are all on this channel and in a playlist called Am I Bothering You? That is an ongoing project, but it isn't sustainable yet. We need your support. Like, I'm just going to say it. We need your support. And hopefully we get to keep making more because I really enjoy doing it. Okay, and then we start getting into a little bit into the weeds. Some of this stuff people don't know about. So there's my card game. Skate or Dice.
Very good card game.
Basically where I'm at, I got very excited about it earlier in the year, and I apologize to some people who've maybe not been wanting updates. I've been sitting on this idea for literally years. A concept for a turn-based, gently deck-building, push-your-luck mechanics card game inspired by skateboarding and skateboarding video games. Where we're at right now is basically the game totally works. It's really fun. It's really very playable. We're at the point where I need to start prototyping. I need to start putting money into it, basically. And there just isn't, we don't have the capital to do that.
As mentioned earlier, we don't have
So it's
money.
like, we have this game and I either need to save capital and myself, or I need to find a partner. A games company or another creator or somebody who wants to who believes in it and wants to help me get it to the next stage. And before you say something, it will be a Kickstarter, but we're not there yet. There's a distance that we have to go before we are ready to launch the Kickstarter. I'm probably going to host some more in-person gaming sessions in and around London so that I can play it with people and keep play testing it and improving it, because it's not finished, but it's really good.
It's really good.
So Skate or Dice is an ongoing project, and it's one that I really, really care about, but it is kind of on hold until I can figure out how to pay for it. And then we've got Thank You, my short film. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen some of the storyboards for this. It is an ongoing production. It's going to be about a 4-minute long animated short film. Right now, it exists as a really solid animatic with temporary sound effects. And I'm actively in the process of finding at least one animator and at least one background artist to work on it. The little one, Trutalk. Hello and welcome back to Trutalk. During lockdown, I made a limited podcast series where I basically cornplate about my favorite movie, The Truman Show, for 6 hours. And I've been making video with the help of Colin from Ed's World. I've been making a video version of Trutalk, and people have been enjoying that. That's over on my second channel, PBFB the movie.
The big
which might be
one.
news to some people. Ever since I was unfortunately forced to cancel PBFB 2021, I have been thinking about what I could do with all of the footage, including almost a whole year of stuff that nobody has ever seen. Hard drives and hard drives of material that I really love, that says a lot about me, that says a lot about the time that we lived in, that we all shared in 2020. Almost immediately, people in my life were like, you should turn it into a movie. You should recut it. You should turn it into a feature film. And I agree. I don't know how else to say it. I was traumatized. I felt really, really bad. And it still kind of hurts to talk about. In this podcast that went up last week at about the 25-minute mark, when I'm talking about the pin badges, if you look really closely, you can see that I start choking up and I get tears in my eyes. I'm not, it hurts. It really hurts that I had to end PBFB. So it took me 2 years before I even wanted to look at the footage again. I still haven't actually looked at the any of that. I've done archival streams and I've looked at older PBFB. And I've rewatched some of the miniseries. But since March 2021, I haven't looked at any of it, because it hurts too much. So first I had to get over that. First I needed time just to kind of put it behind me. And now I think I'm ready to get started. And I have tentatively have got Mandy, our friend Mandy Celine, on as a kind of co-producer with me.
Amazing.
Who's going to help figure out the structure. We're going to meet up and we're going to develop and we're going to watch some stuff together, and we're going to you got to find the narrative, right? Before I can commit to making any new material. I have to it's a really weird...
It needs a structure.
...backwards process. We have to look through everything that we have and figure out what the story is.
Yeah.
Third album re-release. I sometimes make music, and until recently I had released it under the name High Five Spaceship. This is a little bit controversial because there are people on the internet who believe that everything should be available forever, but as an artist, I'm not happy with some of the early music. I don't think it's very good, and I don't think it represents me, and I think actually sometimes it being out there is bad for me. So I decided that I would remove a lot of it from stores. It's still on Bandcamp if you want it, but it's removed from streamers and iTunes and all of that. And I'm in the process currently of re-releasing my third album, I Am Going Up, Come With Me, under my own name, which is fun. For the first time, I've ditched...
Are you really?
Yep, it's up already. Some of it's up.
Wow, I'm
Some
behind.
of it is up. Singles are up.
Oh, yes.
I'm re-releasing as Christopher Bingham. I'm ditching High Five Spaceship. I've outgrown it.
Aww.
It's a wonderful name, and it was a wonderful brand. It served me very well, and I will always love the artwork and the logo, particularly the calligraphy logo that was designed by our friend Alex Vospo. Wonderful. But I don't feel it represents me anymore, and I kind of wanted a fresh slate.
That's how I felt about Jenny B. And that's
Yeah.
why I changed it. I felt like I'd outgrown it.
So that's another ongoing project. There are 3 singles and an additional little bit of ambient music that I made called Transition. It's all up on Spotify and all the major streaming platforms. And I'm finally going to press the CDs for the people who backed it on Kickstarter 100 years ago. I basically didn't manage it very well. And then, one thing happened, and then another thing happened, and then COVID happened, and that really killed, manufacturing was no. And then you just, at a certain point, you're so scared of it because you've not finished doing it. You're like, I can't even think about this anymore.
Yeah. It just builds and builds and builds and becomes this mammoth of I'm terrified.
But the thing is that I love the music. I'm really proud of the music that I made, and I really like these new remasters. And that was part of it as well, was I always knew that it could sound better. So there was an obstacle, there was a kind of mental obstacle. I was like, why would I press this to CD if I think it can sound better? I have not ordered them yet at time of recording. I have not ordered them yet, but they will be pressed.
Woo!
And then there's one other thing in my spreadsheet I am recruiting for. Anthology art book.
Oh.
This is the least far along of all the projects in my project tracker. But I also think it has the potential to be one of the most successful and one of the most enjoyable. I had this idea when I was at Eddsworld, and I think it's a no-brainer, and I think it's really fun, and I think it would be a really fun thing to make and to contribute to the kind of online art community. It was partially inspired by a anthology book that I'm not going to name during lockdown that they basically didn't deliver, and they upset a lot of people. And I looked at that, and my first thought was, this is the easiest thing in the world. I want to combine my skills as a producer with my connections to the online animator and artist community to put out into the world a big coffee table book type anthology. I mean, hopefully. Depends on the scale. Depends on what we can do. I would like it to be a big coffee table book, but maybe the first version is basically like a magazine. But you get a bunch of artists together, they each get a page, and they get to show off their work. They get to hold their work physically, which is something that people don't, a lot of internet people don't get to do very often. And everybody involved gets one, and then everybody, 5 of their friends get one, order one, and then we ship them out, and it's a one and done. And if people like it, we do it again next year. That's something that I would like to do, but I got a little bit way down the road with that, and I'll throw my hands up and say that was too much. That was too many things.
You got to wait for one of the other projects to be fully finished first, and then you have space.
So to answer your question, what the hell is Bing doing? And how can you get involved? I hear you ask. Firstly, you can follow me at chriscoolblog on everything. My personal favorite social at the moment is Instagram stories. That's where you get like me on a daily basis and like what I'm up to and alerts when I go live and shout outs and calls for crewing and artists and whatever else I need. That's where that happens. You can subscribe to this channel, you can subscribe to my second channel, you can ding the little bells, which is particularly important if you want to come to my live streams. You can come along to my Sunday music streams, and one of the most fun ways to directly monetarily support me is to send a little super chat and request a song, or to become a member of the channel, which lets you use lots of silly emojis with my face on them. And as I mentioned, if you're a webcomics artist or an animator, get in touch, send me your portfolio, send me your website. I have another big spreadsheet of people who send me their work, and if I think that you're a good match for a project, I will be in touch. Cool Blog Nation. The cool bloggers. Cool blog to meet ya. It's been so long since I did this. I don't know how to end it.